Hi friends. It's been a long time since I have sat down, filmed a video, and I think I'm finally ready to share some information with you. Not gonna lie, I've tried filming this at least twice in the past couple of days and it hasn't turned out right, and I want this to come out the right way, and I'm hoping that this is my last time to film it. I just want to be honest with you guys. I have a couple things on my phone, just like some general vague notes that I want to just kind of address and make sure that I address in this video, because I don't want this to pose more confusion than anything. I just want to be, I'm very nervous to post this video, but I want to be transparent and honest. I want to make a couple disclaimers before we get started, that I know I'm not a bad teacher for saying these things. Sorry if I'm looking down, I just want to make sure I word the things that I have written down right. And I've heard this from a lot of other teachers, like similar experiences, but never did I think it would happen to me. I just don't want this to come off the wrong way, and I want to just keep bringing that up because it's so important. Like, the last thing I want to do is make people upset or take something that I say or something that I'm talking about incorrectly, or, you know, miscommunicate something. So if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. This is just my experience. It isn't how it's always going to be for me moving forward. This is not a universal thing amongst any school or grade or district or classroom or teacher in general. This is just what my experience was. I guess just like some background information. If you happen to be new, or maybe you haven't kept up with my videos for a while, I've been making YouTube videos since 2015. Around April, so it's been about almost 8 years, which is crazy. I started in high school and I am 23 now. I'm almost 24. I moved into teaching content fully a year and a half ago, I want to say. Right before I started student teaching is when I officially changed my name on YouTube. It used to be Tabby Kit Cats, if you are familiar with that and you've been here that long. That's crazy, but thank you for sticking around. I have been wanting to be a teacher and dreamt of becoming a teacher ever since I was 6 years old, when I graduated kindergarten in 2005. I loved working with kids. I've always been told I've been good working with kids, so I've always had that as a, I guess, way of encouraging myself to pursue education once I got into college. But before that, I started working with kids in 2015 as a junior in high school, and those were very positive experiences, very motivating for me. So I knew for a fact that's what I wanted to do, and I basically throughout college explored and just tried to find, you know, experiences in working with different amounts of kids. Sorry if I keep touching my hair, it's annoying me right now. I did my absolute best to just try to make myself feel confident and know that this is my calling, and to just kind of learn as much as possible. And once I started student teaching, I student taught, and I had such a positive experience and a positive learning experience going into that. So I did a reflection video on that. If you missed that, back in May, I can link it in the iCards over here, I believe. I was so confident coming out of that, and that's the first real experience I've had with 3rd grade. If anything, I'm more comfortable in K2. So knowing I was student teaching in 3rd grade, I was like, okay, like, this is a new jump, but it's exciting. It's probably the oldest I would teach. Still kind of, I think I would agree with that still. So once I found out that I was getting a 3rd grade job offer, I felt really excited about it. If you don't know, I did vlog my interview experience, my teaching portfolio, preparing for that and showing you what that looks like, preparing for my classroom halls, and then also setting up my classroom. And then I kind of fell off the face of the earth for a while, and here we are. So leading up to right now, if you can tell by the title and the thumbnail and all that, you know what this video is about. It's really sad, but this is my reality right now, and I just wanted to be honest with you. And I know that this is not something that I'm exactly comfortable sharing, because I don't know how it's going to be perceived in the future, but I think it's important to share my story and my experience. So I guess that's kind of, you know, the background information. I'm a 1st-year teacher this year, and your 1st year teaching in a profession like this is, I mean, in education, it's just like, it's already so intense and just very nerve-wracking and exciting, but exhausting. And so I knew it was going to be tough going into it, but I did feel like the pressure was really intense for me, and it exemplified to something I never really thought was possible for me in a profession like this, where I felt going into it feeling really good and just feeling like I could do anything. I mean, yes, I'm gonna learn a lot, but that's gonna make me better. I experienced high amounts of stress, and anxiety from the start, basically. And managing behaviors. I've heard teachers say this as well, and I can definitely agree that throughout my time, I felt like I was a teacher second. I was managing behaviors first. That was really hard because there were some days where I felt like I couldn't teach much at all because of the behaviors, or I just felt so emotionally overwhelmed and just frustrated. And I also want to make this side note that it's not anybody's fault. This isn't my fault. It's not the kids' fault, my school, my staff. It's just the way that this happened for me. So anybody who happens to know maybe the school that I work at, or if you work with me, or anything like that, it's not anybody's fault. And I couldn't be more supportive about you know, my principal. I can talk more about that later, but he was beyond supportive and understanding, and that just made me feel so much more determined to do what I needed to do, which was resign. I don't want to talk too much about my school, but this was something I didn't know going into it, which sounds kind of naive on my part, but that's the honest truth, that my school is a very high demographic of students who experience high amounts of trauma, and ultimately that manifested to this being a trauma for me. I got a glimpse of what some of my students have gone through within the hour of the first day of school, and that was a big reality check. I felt like I couldn't do it. Give it the first day, it was their 10 o'clock recess time, and a couple other grade levels went outside with them, and we have to like drop them off and pick them back up. So I dropped them off at the doors, and another teacher in the school, she came up to me and she was like, "Oh, how's it going? You know, that first day feel? How's it, you know, how are you getting along with the kids? How are you feeling?" And I literally, I said, "I don't think I can do this." And I think I was saying it kind of as a joke, but in the back of my mind, I think I really honestly did know that this was going to be hard, and this was not what I expected. And like I said, this isn't anybody's fault. I want to be gentle about that. It's just my reality. I talked to this, actually, I'm not going to say who I talked to, but I did speak to a support staff in my building the second day of school, I believe, about something that I kind of got a glimpse of what my students were experiencing. And she said, you know, like, I totally get where you're coming from, because working at a school like this, you are going to, or you could experience secondary trauma. And like I said, as the year progressed, my mental health plummeted to a whole different space that I haven't experienced in years. I've struggled with my mental health in various ways for about 8 years now. So it's not anything new, but certain things have just manifested. My kids have such, you know, certain triggers, and they're very sensitive, and the way that I was treated by some of my students, the way that the classroom environment just didn't feel like I had that control. In a work environment where you are in charge, you should be in control, and you should feel confident in your craft. That was the opposite of what I was feeling and what I was experiencing, and it was so conflicting because I didn't want it to, you know, hinder or kind of deflate from like what I should have been experiencing, how I should have been feeling as a teacher. It was so hard for me to be happy. And it got to the point where I eventually just started dreading going to work. My dream job, going to work, I didn't want to go. I went, but it was so hard. I expected, you know, within my first year, you know, because it's going to be kind of a lot to get used to, that I would want to plan on weekends, go to the school, because I don't live that far from it, go to my school on the weekends and just like relax, plan, just have that environment that I feel comfortable in. And I only did that maybe not even a handful of times, because I would feel so tense and almost irritable and just like wanting to get out of there because of the experiences that I had in that room and how I felt in that room most of the time. No matter who came in my room, it was always just in a stressful time, and I just felt so anxious and stressed, and it was so exhausting for me. Sorry, I'm on my knees, so I'm trying to like move a little bit. I'm not gonna go into details about what I exactly experienced in there, but it was hard. And I just never thought it would. I don't know how to even explain it, but ultimately I approached my principal shortly before Thanksgiving, and there were a couple things that I approached to him about, and he was so empathetic of how I was feeling. He didn't know the extremes of what was going on, so he applauded me for being brave and even, you know, bringing it up to him. But he was supportive of my decision when I ultimately told him I wanted to resign, and that was not an easy decision for me. It was unbelievably hard to tell my kids, and they reacted so emotionally where I didn't know I made that big of an impact. And that's like what was so hard, because I didn't expect that. I told them on the last Tuesday, so January 2nd. January 6th was my last day, that Friday. It was hard because the rest of the week, I mean, I had to do a lot because of the fact that I was leaving. Like, I had to do report cards, I had to benchmark it, they had to do their iReady diagnostics. I also had to enter all of that data into a database for the district, and then also on top of packing and clearing out my whole room. I can insert a video here of like a pan around of like what my office looks like now. Everything that's in my classroom is now home. I need to go through that room and organize it, but that was so hard for me to for it to sink in, especially now that my kids are at school and I'm not there. It was hard to say goodbye, but I was so scared of even making that an option, because I didn't want it to make it seem like I was giving up or abandoning my kids, but I needed to do it for me because my mental health was going so far down, and I wasn't the best version of myself. I wasn't the best teacher for them, and I knew that. It was so obvious, and you know, support staff came up to me and they were like, yeah, you're so tired. Like, I totally get it. It's so hard as a teacher, because on top of when you're in a school where that's the kind of predominant demographic, you don't really feel like you're a teacher half the time, because there's a kid dealing with this in the back of their mind, X, Y, and Z, and then they have like another kid having to deal with something at home or with family, or you know, it's just like it just got to me so much, and I couldn't take it. And like I said, this was not an easy decision, so coming to terms with it was really hard. And to be honest, I'm really nervous of posting this, and I'm surprised that I'm even posting it right now because it's so fresh, and the fact that I'm still trying to deal with it on my own, I am surprised that I'm even making this a public thing right now. I don't want future employers to think anything negative and perceive this to be something negative. If anything, I have gotten so much support from people, which feels amazing. I never expected that. I wasn't sure what to expect, because by week 2 of the school year, I was isolating myself from anybody who knew me. Obviously, I talked to Isaac a lot about it, and so many times, and he was really the only one I felt like I could trust in the moment of like, you're not gonna judge me, I don't know what to do right now. And like, I didn't expect him to know either, but he did his best to really support me and just to be on my side. I know so many people who were in my boat, right? Some people I graduated with, or just people who are teachers first years, and like, I felt like I couldn't relate at all, because they were thriving, they were having so much fun with their kids, they were like just getting all this love, and they were just having the time of their lives. It was like the high of being a first year teacher was like everything and more for these people. And that's not even me like saying anything negative. That should be the reality, and I'm so happy for them. It was just I couldn't relate, and that's what made it even harder for me, because I couldn't relate to anybody. I felt like in the moment. I did have a couple people come forward afterwards that had similar situations that they dealt with, and that made me feel less alone, so thank you to whoever reached out. I do have a couple questions that I am going to answer. People that asked me a couple questions on my Instagram a couple days ago, and I said I'm going to be filming a video all about this very soon. I figured if you have any questions or comments, leave them here so I can address them in the video. I got a couple responses, so I want to go through them, and hopefully my battery doesn't die. The first question is, what is one thing you're going to miss from the experience? Something I'm going to miss is the kids. Obviously, I'm thinking about them right now, and I really hope that they're adjusting well. I've been trying to keep in contact with a couple staff members, and see how they're doing, and I'm hoping to visit them soon, maybe this week. Obviously I miss that routine, trying to get back into like what routines I thrive on, and I thrive on that routine base in a day. So not having a routine right now is so strange, so I'm trying to build myself back up and try to revamp whatever this is going on right now. The next question, is there anything you wish you did differently? To be honest with you, I think I did everything as I could have done to try to better the situation. I reached out for help. I tried different opportunities. I tried to seek out different opportunities. I sought in the people that I worked with and that I trusted to kind of have my back on certain things. I reached out to my mentor teacher. I tried to keep a positive attitude and an open mind to say things are going to get better. I tried that for so long, and eventually got to a breaking point. So I needed to do this for me. I don't know. I don't think there's anything I would have done differently though. So I feel like I did everything I could at the time. Another question, what are some of the behind the scene things as a teacher we don't normally see, if you're allowed to mention it? Honestly, it feels like you never get a break. Your prep times obviously are times for you to prep. Sometimes I would literally just sit there and just like sit in silence with my lights off and just kind of do other things because I absolutely could not handle it. I was just so emotionally burnt out. You're going a lot of trips to the printer. You're constantly on your computer when you're alone to either email parents or, you know, prep things. Your planner is your best friend. I don't know. It's funny because I feel like a lot of teachers, just like whenever they're available, they just like to vent and just like let everything out, and it's pretty fun to do that because, you know, gotta let that out. It's a very unpredictable job, I suppose. You never know how the day or the hour is gonna go, so if you're able to let that out and just like vent to another person who understands it and won't judge you for it, that's constant for me. That was so healthy for me. Behind the scenes, I don't know. I feel like I could make a whole video on that, but I honestly can't think of anything else on the top of my head. That was probably kind of a lame answer. My biggest question that I got was, what do you plan to do next? I got a couple comments similar to this of like, do you think you'll go back into teaching? Are you gonna quit teaching for good? And things like that. I don't think I will. I definitely see myself being back in the classroom. It's just I needed to take this time for me to take a step back, take a break, just be present. Don't worry about the future, worry about now. I've applied to a couple jobs relating to childcare and things kind of like that. Haven't got anything set in stone, but I do have a job interview pretty soon in a couple days that we'll see where that goes, if that goes anywhere. Right now I'm just trying to take things slow, try to get a lot of rest, because throughout this time, the past like month or two, I haven't really slept much at all. I did put on some makeup today for the first time in like a long time, but typically I have barely been sleeping. My hair's been falling out, migraines daily, and that's been happening probably since like late October, so nothing new. Insomnia I've dealt with for years, ever since I started college, but it's definitely more prominent and, you know, just in a worse state when I am feeling that high levels of stress and things. So I'm really trying to just like take time for me. Reading has been helping me a lot. Cleaning is helping me. It's so therapeutic for me to, you know, clean. No matter what it is, it makes me get out of bed and just do something. And singing, of course, has been helping me. Even if it's just in the shower, simple things. Just trying to keep that up for now. But once that changes, like once I do get back into the job interviewing process in a couple months, or like give myself that grace period and try to move forward into something for the fall, I will obviously let you guys know of that. My last question I'm going to be answering, and then I'll close this video because I know I've been filming for a while. I'm in my second year of school, and seeing everyone quit has got me thinking if I made the right choice. This is something that I don't want you to feel at all, and I definitely had this feeling going in to even student teaching and seeing other teachers quit or take time off like this, and I don't want this video to even like encourage you to do that or to step away from this profession, especially if you're not even in it yet. Like I said, everyone's experience is different, so if anything, I want you to really give yourself grace, give yourself the time and the energy to execute what you're passionate about. And if you know this is your calling like it is for me, I definitely don't think it's the wrong decision for you, because I know you personally online, and I know that you've been in it for a while. You've been in school for a while, and there's definitely a lot of things that college doesn't teach you, but once you enter the profession, you feel a lot more confident. I wish you nothing but the best. I really think that whoever has a calling for working with kids and working with children in an education field, there's nothing you can see yourself doing otherwise in a way like this. What I did in college that helped me a lot is I went on like Instagram, and like a bunch of teachers that I followed at the time, I looked at their pages, screenshotted a bunch of pictures of like them in their classrooms, or like things that they would make, or like anything that brought me joy relating to teaching. I made it a big collage on like Word or something, printed it out and made a big vision board and hung it up next to my desk. That way I always had that as like a level of motivation. Any cards or anything I would get from students, I would keep it as a way to motivate me to know that I made an impact, like anything like that. Especially as you get into like those practicums or those pre-service teaching experiences, clinicals, whatever you want to call them. Those are like the key points to like you really getting into it and like seeing the reality, and it's so exciting. So I definitely don't think you made the wrong choice for going into teaching. I think it is such an exciting time when you're in college to really explore, see what you like. That way when you start applying for jobs, you'll know more, I guess you'll be more confident and determined to like what you like and things like that. I hope that made sense. I know that was kind of a lengthy answer, but the last thing I want to do is take away from what the profession is and what your experience may or may not be, especially if you haven't even experienced it yet. I wanted to say thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I think my plans for YouTube, I don't really know. I'm not sure if I want to change my name or like completely just not do teaching content for a while, obviously, because there's nothing relating to teaching that I really can do like in the moment. I think for right now I kind of want to steer away from teaching videos and do other things. I'm resigning from my position, but I'm not quitting teaching. I will be back in the classroom when I'm ready. I just don't know when that will be, and I've come to terms with that. Teaching videos is not at all what I'm watching right now, and I haven't watched for so long because of how I've been feeling, and it hasn't been motivating. If anything, it's been kind of just overwhelming. That's besides the point. I hope that you stick with me. If not, that's okay, because I know a lot of my subscribers have come from this past summer when I did all those teaching related videos. If that's not what you want to see, or if you don't want to wait, totally fine. I appreciate you staying with me. If anything, I know that Emma Grace, she used to be elementary with Emma, she talked a lot about her experiences as well, and she basically said like, I'm just wanting my audience who want to stick with me to stay with me, and if they don't, that's fine, because everybody grows out of something, you know. So I don't know what's to come for YouTube, but I appreciate you guys so much for watching this, and I hope to see you soon. I want to come back to YouTube and return to my outlet. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.